right. Well, we forgot to mention at the top of this, nerd alert. But yeah. Devs is a disturbing nematode set in San Francisco.
Oh. Devs was slow, but mysterious.
Devs was muy interesante.
Oh.
Ooh. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. I was going to make a joke when you said muy interesante, but I was like, we should probably just move on. That was good enough.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I was like, never mind. They're like, why is he pausing? With us, as always, co-CEO and tag team wrestling champion of 1996, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg.
Hey, so there I am.
Also, superstar actress and writer and producer, Kat Geren.
Hi, guys.
My name's Ryan T. Husk. They call me Ryan T. Husk. Today we are reviewing...
Only 'cause you force us to.
What would you call me if I didn't force you to?
Tillilaju.
Right.
That one's easier. But I get your reference. That's a shout out to Timothy Springer, trying to say my real first name, which is Thierry Gilles. But he would say, "What's your name, like Tillilaju?" Because he was from the South. Anyway, moving on to
all of our fun inside jokes that only Ryan and I get.
But they're very funny to us.
Yeah.
Today we're reviewing Devs on Hulu. It's available on Hulu. It's a sci-fi mystery, as Michael alluded to. First things first, Michael, we're going to predict if we liked it or hated it or in between, because Michael and I have known each other for many years.
Many. Too long.
Yeah, at least two
Almost
decades.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess, Michael, that you did not like this show. And that's about all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, I am going to that's an interesting guess that I will say, but I will guess that you did not like this show.
What? How well do you know me? I'm also, just for the bonus points, going to guess that Kat liked it. Not in love with it.
Right.
But liked it.
Yeah.
Not thrilling, but nice.
Very muy interesante guess.
All right.
I'm going to guess that Michael liked it. And I'm going to guess that Ryan was tepid.
All right.
Well, now everybody that's watching this live, make your guesses. Take your guesses. What did Ryan think? What did Michael think? What did Kat think? You know us pretty well. You saw Kat last month, and you saw us in your dreams.
Every day of your lives.
All right, Michael, you want to tell us what this show's about?
Yeah, right? I forgot about that. Okay. In Devs, an FX limited, so it's from FX, but it's on, you can watch it on Hulu. An FX limited series. A young software engineer, Lily Chan, investigates the mystery of the secret development division of her employer, a cutting-edge tech company based in Silicon Valley, which Ryan and I know about.
Me too. I was born and raised there.
Hey, we were also. Which she believes is behind the murder of her boyfriend. In this episode, when her boyfriend Sergey vanishes after starting a new job at the secretive Devs division of tech company Amaya, software engineer Lily begins to suspect that his disappearance may not be as clear-cut as it seems.
Well, all disappearances are not really clear-cut. Well, I'm so glad I never read these yeah, the premises. I'm so glad I don't read them, because like you just read it, I'm like, oh, I would have watched this already knowing what's going to happen. But instead, I watched it with zero knowledge. Speaking of which, we now will say what we expected versus what we got. I was kind of jumping into it a little too fast. So first things first, Michael, what did you expect before you watched this?
So I actually did not read the synopsis before watching it. I just took that off of, grabbed it from whatever. I don't remember where I grabbed it, but I grabbed it after watching it. So what I expected, nothing, absolutely nothing. Ryan came to me and was like, "Hey, should we watch Devs?" And I was like, "All right, I don't even know what that is, but okay." So nothing is what I expected of that.
Yeah, I don't even remember where we came up with the idea for Devs. I guess you're saying it was me, but I don't remember. But I don't remember who told me. Kat, what did you expect before you watched it?
Well, like Michael, I had never heard of it either, but I did read the synopsis before I watched it. So I did have a little inkling on what it was going to be about. But other than that, I had no idea whatsoever about it.
Got it. I too am like Michael because we like to copy him. I didn't know anything about it. Apparently, I'm the one that mentioned it, but I really didn't know anything. I think I knew that it was sci-fi. That might be the only thing I knew. I didn't know that apparently Alison Pill is in it, which I should have known because she's in Picard, Star Trek Picard. Yeah.
Dr. Agnes Girardi.
Right, the girl that throws up 3 times in one episode. Anyway, but that's what we expected. Really not much. And I didn't read the synopsis either. I just kind of watched it just to see what would happen. Michael, what did you get?
I got a super trippy thriller mystery is what I got. Pretty intriguing. I don't remember who said intriguing. So I remember hearing somebody say intriguing, and I was like, intriguing? Do you mean intriguing? Yeah, very intriguing and very interesting to me. I did like it, Ryan. Sorry to tell you. What?
I don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah, Kat celebration. She nailed it.
Well, Kat, sounds like you may have liked it too, but what did you get?
I thought it was going to be sci-fi. I thought it was going to be way more sci-fi. And to me, it seemed much more thriller mystery, which I kind of gravitate to anyways. So that's what I got. It was, it's layered in sci-fi for sure, but I think the crux of it is the mystery, which is really, really, how'd you say it? Intriguing?
Intriguing, yeah. We'll just call this one science friction.
Yeah.
You guys are saying too much wordplay. It's getting fatiguing to me. Anyway, I'll tell you what I got.
What did you get, Talilaji?
Well, I got I got a show that
you hated.
Here's what I got. I got a show that was a little too confident that we would be interested in what's going on. And this happens sometimes.
It insists upon itself.
Right, where they're a little too confident, where I'm like, hey, don't forget, you have to also entertain me and keep my attention and interest me. And they're like, oh, but I did. And I go, how did you keep my attention? They go, by making really loud scoring. Bring! 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 Here's the scoring. No, I got a sci-fi movie. The other thing I was going to say was Devs should be called Hevs because it's heavy in science, heavy in scoring, and heavy in mystery.
There we go.
Mystery.
But that kind of overconfidence fits in very well with the Silicon Valley kind of idea. because that's kind of what Silicon Valley is all about, you know, like we
Overconfidence.
yeah, like, yes, absolutely. Like
Where in
best
Silicon Valley are
ideas.
you from?
I grew up like 5 miles away from Apple headquarters in Saratoga, Cupertino area.
Huh.
That's right. We're from San Jose.
We're Zanzay guys.
Well, technically my address was San Jose.
Okay.
Yes, I was West Side San Jose.
Look at this. This
Yeah.
is just, boy, oh boy.
Look at that. I thought the show was a lot like, did you guys ever see Homecoming on Amazon Prime with Julia Roberts?
No. Sadly, I've never seen a show like this before.
Is that a movie or
It's
TV
a series.
show?
It's a series as well. And
Hey, it's WTF show Homecoming. And Ryan, you forgot to tell people that to write WTF and stuff.
If you'd like us to review the first episode of a series, simply type in WTF and the series, like WTF Homecoming, which stands for obviously Watch the first Homecoming. Good point. Also, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash the bell icon to teach it a lesson. Please continue, Kat.
well, I mean,
This message brought to you by Fallingtower.
By YouTube.
Back to you, Ryan.
Okay. So I have a confession to make, guys. Is this the part of the day where we do confessions? I think it is.
Okay.
Guys, we ended up recording this episode later than we expected. So I watched it a second time today just to refresh my memory. Just because I was like, God, this show was so like snooze fest that I'm going to have to watch. You know, I'm like, I'm not really going to watch it again. I'll just kind of put it on and hear it and refresh my memories. And I kind of liked it better the second time. And I'm afraid to admit this in front of the two of you. But the first time I was like, this is just terrible.
Wow.
And the second time, once I kind of knew what was happening and what was going on, it wasn't so bad.
What did you not like about it initially?
The pace, I'm sure.
That nothing happened.
It was
nothing happened. Like the synopsis that Mike just read gave us more information than the 56 minutes that we endured of watching the show. Like that
we enjoyed.
That entire thing could have been condensed into like 2.5 minutes. There was no information happening. It was so...
But there was so much information happening. That's the thing.
It was all subtext.
Yeah, there was so much information happening.
Tell me of the subtext.
Well, first of all, when Lily, finds out that her boyfriend goes missing and she goes into work and she talks with the security guard and he shows her that tape that they obviously like computer generated. I mean, that's subtext right there of they just like flat out like, how did they do that? How was that possible?
Yeah, they didn't talk about that at all. The biggest part of subtext that I found was, in my imagination, I think that Amaya is the name of Forrest's daughter who died.
Yes.
And then he created this company in her honor. And also, I think that Devs is first of all, we don't really find out exactly what Devs is.
Yeah, what's the code, man? What's the code? What's
right? But I mean, I think that that's probably an attempt of Forrest, who's played by Nick Offerman brilliantly, by the way.
Yes.
I think that's his attempt to find some meaning in his daughter's death, or maybe even reconnect with his daughter somehow.
I think the code is like trying to bring her back to life. I think that's what it is.
Right. I thought exactly the same thing. I thought Amaya is the girl's name. There's a giant statue of a girl. That's got to be his daughter that died somehow. And his life's mission and his life's work is to bring her back, whether it's to clone her, whether it's to bring her back to life. Maybe he's got her in cryostasis or something like that. And that's what this entire thing is about. And that was my guess too.
Or this is my conspiracy theory.
Oh, all right.
Is that maybe in the code, because it made him like physically ill. The guy's physically ill to see the code. And he was questioning life, you know, and then that girl, Katie, came over and was like, no, like, this is the actual truth, you know, in the code.
Right.
What if it's that life never ends? You know, like, what if, like, they found a way for, I don't know. That's just my conspiracy, that somehow this guy didn't really die. Like, we're going to see him later on in the series, I think, somehow.
Right. Well, when we saw the video of him walking and doing all that stuff, I just assumed that Devs was able to manipulate his dead body and control it to do things, which is one step below bringing somebody to life.
Right.
You know, so that my assumption is that once the guy is dead, his whole body's still intact. He just ran out of oxygen, which I had major qualms with that scene. I'll have you know.
Why?
If a dude tackles me and puts a plastic bag over my head, I'll bet you $10 it won't work. I have two hands just like he has two hands.
But what if he's a superhuman? What if Devs like gave him superhuman strength?
Okay.
So you don't know.
Maybe. He's got a plastic bag over his head. He's breathing on it, right? And he's got his hand. He's going, oh, why not just go and poke a hole in it? Oh, there you go. You're alive again. Right. You're still alive. You're fine.
I saw him notice that too. I was like, his hand is right there. Why doesn't he just go like this?
Yeah, poke or bite.
Yeah, could bite it.
Dude, when you're dying, you're going to try to live. You're not just going to be like, oh, this sucks. Darn it. I'm going to, darn this whole thing.
It's so dramatic to see the air in and out and then stop, you know.
I mean, but we do know that people can die like that. So that's a reasonable way to kill him off in the show. Maybe it wasn't executed perfectly in the way it was acted, but to me, that's a reasonable way to kill somebody.
And it was like a clean killing. There wasn't blood. There wasn't anything they had to clean up or anything.
Exactly.
And they left the body intact, like you said, which was, I think, really important.
Mm-hmm. And it builds a lot of drama. Like, you think, is this just a test? Are they going to release him and be like, okay, now you learned your lesson? I thought it was the main character because I didn't read the synopsis that it's about him dying. So I was like, oh, they're just going to let him survive and teach him a lesson or whatever. And then he died. I'm like, well, that's peculiar, especially the way he died. But here's the qualm, is that in a show that is about science, then the death needs to be smarter to me. It needs to make more scientific sense. Like, there need to be 4 other henchmen that come out of the woods and hold down his arms, and then okay. But if it's just one old dude versus one young dude, by the way, I thought that guy was great too. The old guy,
security guy, yeah, he was fantastic.
Oh, super creepy.
I mean, that's his job is security, and the other guy, he's like just a weak little coder. Like, that's all he does is just sits behind a computer, wasting away in coding all day. So he's obviously frail and weak. So.
Except I thought it was really interesting. Number one, the opening scene where we see him screaming into the vast San Francisco abyss, you know, that's obviously very important. So there's going to be some sort of turning point, I think, where something happens, obviously, where he's going to have to question everything. But also the homeless guy, to me, that they step over, which was very San Francisco, you know, that was very true to form.
His name was like Paul or something.
But it looked like the same guy to me.
Yeah.
Did it look?
It's not the same guy, but he did look very similar. I do feel like that guy's going to play a part later.
Yes.
Like, he's going to be like, yeah, I saw Sergey walking. It didn't seem like him. It was just kind of walking with purpose.
I agree. And his magical watch. Oh my God, that was so
his
crazy.
James Bond watch,
yeah, where he did like Morse code, where he put the code into his.
Well, I thought he was like activating something, because when he was like looking at the code, he was like this. So his watch was like looking right at the screen. Interesting story actually about homeless people sleeping in front of your porch. When I first moved to LA, I was living in an apartment around the corner from Ryan. By myself, and like there was a homeless person. I think it was like an older homeless lady who would sleep
in North Hollywood,
in the hallway.
Right?
In North Hollywood, sleep in the hallway of my apartment building.
How did she get in? Wasn't there like a locked gate?
There was. I mean, she might have jumped the fence, or maybe maybe somebody let her in, or like she snuck in when somebody opened the gate or something like that. But yeah, like it wasn't every night, but like a few nights, I like when I was leaving for work, I'd like step over her and I was like, oh. I don't think you can sleep here. Yeah, she was very stinky. You're right, Ryan.
Did she listen to you when you told her that?
I don't know. I don't know if it was me or somebody else, or maybe if they called the cops or something like that. I mean, I didn't call the cops on her. I just said politely, "Oh, hi. I don't think you can sleep here, please."
Well, she might have been a part of this larger.
Yeah, she could have been part. She could have been part of Dibs, yeah. See, Ryan?
But I think that code is gonna get to Lily somehow.
We all obviously have a lot of questions about this show, which means that they're stimulating our imagination, stimulating our thought processes.
Yeah, well, you can't spell Talilajil without Lily. Well, that's why.
Nice segue.
Thanks. I think that's why I enjoyed it more the second time, is because I wasn't looking to be entertained, and because I didn't have to sit through 56 minutes of it. I could just kind of poke my head in and out, at certain points. But there certainly wasn't anything. There was only one thing that I caught the second time that I didn't catch the first time. That's how slowly it moved. If it moved quickly, there'd be like a million things that I would catch. And it was at the beginning when Admiral Forrest comes in and says, "Hey, did you see that thing today? New York Times doing an article on us, saying that we might have government oversight or something like that." Obviously, that's something that will come into play later. Otherwise, they wouldn't mention it. That was clearly something that was done on purpose, I would think.
You start shoving greens in his face.
Yeah, I love that.
That was good. That was really good. I loved that.
At first, I thought it was arugula, but now I'm not so sure. It looked like it could have been like baby spinach, or like micro spinach or something like that, or I don't know.
Right, because the leaves weren't very wavy.
Right.
He pulled that character off so well.
Oh, he was brilliant. I think it's that character.
So well, and I also kind of think that blonde girl, Katie, is way more powerful than we kind of think right now. It's almost like she might be running the ship a little bit here.
You think so?
Yeah.
Agnes Girardi, huh?
When Nick Offerman was sitting in that lovely field that you have behind you, Ryan, kind of contemplating what he had just done, and she comes to meet him, and she kind of tells him what to think. Basically, he's kind of like feeling almost guilt, and she's like, snap out of it, like don't think that way. She very much influenced how he thought about the situation.
She's like, the universe is deterministic, so
yeah.
So you have to wonder if that's something that they found in their research at Devs, and that's why he's like so sure about himself, and sure about killing Sergei, because Sergei, this is the path that
Sergei
was
going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Grew up in Russia, and like had to get in with Russian spies in order to get to America, and then got into Devs to steal this information, and then he was going to have to kill him because of that. So this is just all what has happened according to Forrest's theory of the universe being deterministic. I don't know if I buy that, but no, I'm a fan of the multiverse theory.
Well,
I like that.
That was good. Do you think that Sergei was a spy?
Oh yeah. Well, he's got a Sudoku game that's password protected on his phone, which talking about science fiction things that you don't buy, Ryan, I think I'll say that the one thing that I didn't buy is that she like erases her phone and logs into her phone with his password, and like all of a sudden all of his apps show up. Like, don't you have to download apps? That just doesn't make sense to me. That like his whole profile would
she
be,
works. She works in encryption or whatever it is she mentioned.
right.
I didn't read it as she downloaded all of his stuff. I read it as she accessed his phone through her phone, like their little, the cord and the access. I bought that. I thought that was fine. I don't know of anybody that can do that right now, but I'm sure that they have some kind of technology to do that kind of stuff. I mean, the police and whatever detectives still have to solve mysteries somehow. And if they don't
all right, nerds, let us know in the comments. Can you do that or not? Like, am I just like ignorant in my knowledge of technology, or is everybody else wrong?
I don't know. I think we can do it, but yeah, let us know in the comments section. Can we access somebody else's phone through our phone if we have the right kind of technology?
I think you can.
Yeah.
I think you can.
Yeah.
They
Sorry,
said
Mike.
that she would know how to do such a thing. So.
Well, if anybody would, I mean, I guess it'd be her. But even then, she doesn't really know how to crack a code, so she has to go to her ex-boyfriend, who's like, "Oh, okay, now you come to me now that you need my help to find your boyfriend, not to apologize or anything like that." Lame.
Ronnie was his name, I think.
I don't know. I've got it up here, but I should look at this thing.
Ronnie.
He's gonna come into play in the series.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the two of them are gonna be a tag team, and then they're gonna fall in love again.
No, Ronnie looks like a girl here.
Oh, that's Chan's friend. Okay, so that's the lady that was doing the number game.
Yeah.
Doing the number game. So Kenton is the security officer who was the best guy.
Maybe Jamie.
Jamie? I think Jamie.
Yeah, that's Jamie. You're right, guys. Yeah. Oh, and they're at the Castro. It was fun to see the Castro. That was cool.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Fun story. Ryan's brother had a health food store or something, or like a vitamin store or something?
Yeah, it was kind of like a Vitamin World. It was called NutriSport. And so, it was downstairs from like a gym. So you could get all of your protein and sups. That's what they call supplements. Yeah, vitamins, protein bars, creatines, all that stuff. So still to this day, I call him, I'm like, wait, what's the difference between arginine and citrulline again? And he's like, ugh. I told you this a million times. It's like he hasn't had that shop forever, but he still remembers this stuff better than I do.
Remember Ryan always had all sorts of like powders and like
and that's just for my face.
Yeah.
Oh, I did the shrug and smile. And then our friend Darth worked there and crashed two of my brother's computers and ruined his business. But we won't get into how
we won't even start getting into that at all.
How he crashed the company computer while my brother was gone.
Yeah.
Anyway. We do like the Castro. We like San Francisco and the Silicon Valley.
Absolutely.
Did you guys have a favorite character?
Forrest. I mean, first of all, Nick Offerman. I'm a huge Parks and Rec fan, so Nick Offerman, all right. Already, just the very first shot you see Nick Offerman, I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'm on board for the ride. And then,
so what Mike is trying to say is WTF Parks and Rec.
I would love that. Yes.
I've never seen it. I just know that it exists.
I don't know if I've seen maybe an episode here and there, but I haven't watched it like from the beginning.
Oh boy.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So WTF, if you want us to watch the first Parks and Rec with Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. And,
that's like when he's like, should I kill my wife or not? He's like, just Offerman.
All right.
I will say I didn't love the main character, Lily. He was... I liked Sergey a lot. I thought there's some complexity and mystery. I don't know. I didn't love Lily, but there's room to.
Sergey did the.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah.
I'm starting to guess that, yeah, like you guys said, maybe he was just a spy and he was just using her, and she finds out, wait a second, this guy's just a Russian spy that's going in to do this stuff, which is why the dude was interrogating Sergey, saying, well, she's Chinese, is she possibly a spy? And he's like, no way. But it's possible that Sergey himself was a Russian spy. And so she might find out that this whole love thing was all just a ruse, and then she falls back in love with her old boyfriend to try to solve. I know, boy, oh boy.
And then Sergey comes back to life.
Maybe. She did see his burned body, though.
But was it his? Like,
was it his? That's a good question.
Exactly. We don't know that yet. Did you have a favorite character, Kat?
I guess Nick Offerman. I really loved his character. I didn't love like what he was about, because there's something to him. But I loved the way he played the character.
Yeah, I do agree that the main character, Lily, who I didn't know was the main character, because 60% of the entire first episode has a different main character, and then they kill him, and then you're like, oh, so is she going to be the main character now, I guess? But I agree that she wasn't that great just because they didn't give her much. They didn't give us much about her. Everybody else had depth and flavor and something interesting about them. She was kind of like, the secondary character that now suddenly is looking to solve a mystery, but she didn't have any depth to her character that we saw in the first episode.
The depth that they did give her was that she like dropped her boyfriend and like said, peace out, I don't like you anymore.
Right.
So that kind of made her almost more unlikable to me.
and also that she can rattle off primes without even having them memorized. So that shows you that she's very smart.
Absolutely.
But if they play that game a lot, she probably does have them memorized. If they played that more than once, you can memorize at least the first 10. I did like the Nick Offerman character too, a lot. And I really like Kenton, just because he's such a weirdo. So he might have been my favorite guy, the security officer guy.
Yeah.
But he was an excellent liar. The two of them are wonderful liars.
Yeah.
Yes. Very, very good. Now, what did you guys think of two things that I thought were so creepy and crazy?
I liked one. I didn't like the other.
The trees lighting up.
Oh, I loved them. Yeah.
That was so cool.
So at first, when they're walking through the forest and you see these rings around the trees, I'm like, what the heck is? Why are there rings around all these trees? But then when they all light up in the middle of the night, then it's such an amazing look. I mean, like,
absolutely.
You got to think this guy's got all this whole campus that he owns with his company there, and he can just do whatever he wants with it. I would do that too if I had a.
You would do that exact same thing
out in the middle of the forest.
They make their employees walk through the forest every day to get to work. They're like, you got to trek like 3 miles.
Even if it's raining.
Through the forest. See you later.
So what was the other thing, Kat? You said there are two really interesting things.
The obelisk thing, the gold things that were sticking out of the ground
this thing
before they enter the depth part, like what were those things? They said something about like a force field or something. The gold.
I don't know. For me, I just thought that they were like decoration or something like that. Yeah, they could have served a purpose also. Yeah, I think that he said the gold mesh, I think, was inside. Like when you go inside of devs, it's all covered in gold.
Yeah.
So that was some pretty cool science fiction too. The whole place is encased in a vacuum and it's just being held up by magnetism. Yeah.
That was cool. They were like floating around or whatever. I will say something interesting about these obelisks is that we just, like 2 days ago, there was an article going around where they found an obelisk like this in Utah. I'm wondering,
that was a few weeks ago, Ryan.
Oh, whatever. And so I'm thinking, like, is this just like a promo stunt for
I
season
was
2?
wondering that same thing too. Yeah.
That they just put it there and they're like, hey, look what we found, you guys. We were just hiking over here and this thing showed up.
Well, one thing I will say, I didn't really catch this when I first had looked at the synopsis, but rereading it right now, it says this is a limited series.
Right. When you read that, it made my ears perk up too.
I'm wondering if this is it. If there's these 8 episodes, and then that's it.
Now, I have a question about that.
One could hope.
Have they all been released, or are they released like every week? Like
I think they were all out on Hulu. I believe this came out maybe 2018 or something, 2018 or 19.
Okay.
Mike can confirm.
2020.
Okay.
But they were, yeah, it looks like it came out in around March of this year.
Okay.
And looks like they're all released now. So.
Yeah, as you can see from Mike correcting me twice in a minute, I have no concept of time. He reminded me of that tomorrow. Thank you.
And don't you remember it?
I knew you were going to say that because I predicted it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because I said it yesterday.
Yeah. Anyway.
A week ago.
What did you guys think of the scoring in Devs? The scoring, the bring, zing, gotcha. It's like the music kept going, gotcha.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I'll honestly say that the story was so intriguing that I didn't really pay too much attention to the score, but it wasn't distracting for sure.
Really? You didn't notice that?
Oh, it was.
No, I guess at the beginning of the show when it's doing all sorts of weird stuff, but I thought it added to the ambiance. So.
Tell him, Kat. Tell him how noticeable it was. Yeah, it was very noticeable.
What happened?
It was very noticeable, and it was very in your face. Kind of maybe because it needed to be, because the storyline was moving so slowly, so they had to put something interesting out there. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. It definitely felt like it was trying too hard, but I was okay with it. I'm like, hey, that's the flavor of the show. That's okay. It's certainly not taking away from anything. What?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That's all I meant.
That it insists upon itself? Yeah. I liked it though overall. The music, scoring, that is. I didn't think it was too it didn't distract too much from the story or the plot because there wasn't a lot going on. Now, if there was a lot going on, then I would have definitely noticed it too much. You're making faces, Michael.
I'm trying to stay awake. All right, let's go.
Now,
well, then you need to stop drinking all that water.
Sergey, when he is first entered, he does the experiment that he shows the devs people.
Nematode.
And it was, nematode was about predicting behavior, right? Do you think that his thing is going to come into play at all?
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
I think it's all in the same family of predicting what things would do and then actually kind of controlling them to do so or something. I think it's all going to come into play as to how they were able to move his dead body. I think they were controlling his dead body through a computer and he was just walking along and they were like, look, he knows too much. So we're going to make him kill himself and make it look like clearly, put it right in front of the camera. So the camera shows he killed himself.
Right.
And that's the only way they could do that, is it's in their own controlled environment, which is why they did it there. So I think unless there's something different that happens throughout the series, I thought that was pretty fairly obvious that that's where they're going with that, is that they controlled his dead body to do that. Who knows? We'd have to watch the second to find out, though.
Thanks for this technology, Sergey. We're gonna have to use it to make you kill yourself now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to watch the 10th to find out the mystery.
There's only 8.
Okay, watch the 8th. I don't know. Any other big quick hits? I like the music. Most of the characters were good. I love the setting.
Yes, beautiful.
All right, here's my hard-hitting question.
Oh boy, here we go.
Here we go.
He always gets us with this.
Here I go. All right, do you think that the universe is deterministic?
Okay.
Oh, we're going there. We're going deep there. Okay.
I don't know how we can't go there.
I think that's you, Kat.
Man, I of course wrestled with this argument many a times. I love learning about space and, you know, all the theories and everything like that. I don't know. Part of me says yes, part of me says no. But
Which
more
parts?
more of me says yes, that I think that we are on some deterministic path.
So you think that free will has no place in the world?
I think so, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Ryan?
I think that Michael believes that we are not predetermined, because Michael also believes in the Force, as we all know. But I think it's going to be, you know, kind of the cop-out answer that we hear about everything. I think it's a blend. It's a blendy, because I think it's partially predetermined in that there are only so many things we can do, and there is cause and effect, and there is human nature, and there is nature. So there are certain things. It's kind of like, I think they said something about like how we're, you know, it's like on a railroad track or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, you can put the brakes on, you can speed up, you can slow down, you can go whatever, but you stay on the track. So you do have a certain amount of free will, but within the system.
I agree. I'm kind of like on that path, because the universe is so mathematical. You know, everything is so makes sense in such a like quantum sense that I don't know it. I very much feel that we're like on this path.
Well, Michael, tell us that we're wrong.
And all right, I'll give you guys the right answer.
And that the Force tells us all that we are luminous matter. We are luminous beings, not this crude matter.
Well, we are luminous beings, but here. Okay, so obviously we're limited human beings, and we cannot know everything, and all we can do is just pick our best guesses. But science can also help to give us direction, and some recent science that I've heard about coming out of Irvine in California is
that was weeks
Dr.
ago.
It was actually like a couple years ago. He gave his TED talk.
See, I don't know.
But he's been doing some research into our perceptions. Do we perceive reality as it really is?
Oh, sure.
And he's done games with model games with evolutionary game theory, and basically what he has come up with, I guess this working theory that he has, is that life has given us perception of a false reality so that we can survive and thrive. So what we see, and we know that like we don't even see the full range of light.
Right.
We don't hear the full range. Like dogs can hear more than we can hear.
Right.
And so right there, that tells you, okay, we're not perceiving everything that exists. And so he's saying that our perceptions have evolved in order to give us the best chance of survival, for our genes to survive to the next generation. But the kind of an offshoot of this theory, a deeper theory that he's come up with, is that it's a consciousness-based theory. So all of reality is based in consciousness,
Right.
and all the reality is a manifestation of our consciousness.
Right.
And so actually, within this framework of this theory, we're all co-creating the universe at the same time. So free will is kind of like, you do have free will, but as long as everybody agrees with you, then you have the free will. So if you see a train coming at you, okay, it's like you can't just step in front of the train and say, okay, I'm going to be fine because I'm mostly like empty negative space in my atoms and the train will pass right through me. But everybody else agrees like, okay, the train is real and it's going to hit you and it's going to demolish you. So it's not like you can, like, yourself as this one conscious being can make the decision that, okay, this is what I want to happen and this is what's magically going to happen. But it's just everybody creates reality together. So.
Right. That's by the way,
that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah.
Right. Well, we forgot to mention at the top of this, nerd alert. But like Catherine mentioned, yeah, that's quantum physics. You know, that's
I would also add something.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about. Yeah.
I would really like to add that I'm a fan of like the multiverse theory. Is that we're like existing in like parallel universes constantly because all we ever experience is the now. Mm-hmm. So who's to say the now isn't 1,000 years from now or 1,000 years prior? Like we're always existing in that space. So that's like the theory that I kind of gravitate towards more so, is that, like, again, that we can't see everything that's, like you said, like we can't see all the, and so what if we can't see all the dimensions, and right. They're existing simultaneously, and it's just, we're always just existing in the now of our constant evolving.
Well, even being three-dimensional beings, it's hard for us to really wrap our brains around a fourth dimension of time and space.
Right.
Being this extra dimension. And so same thing, like if there's two-dimensional beings, we can't see them and they can't see us. So any other beings that exist on higher dimensional planes, we would not have any contact with them.
Right.
And but then also with a conscious-based reality, really, time has no meaning anyway. Time is just a construct of our reality to help us to survive.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what time is. Yeah, it's that time is us just measuring something that just is for our own interpretations, for us to understand what the heck's going on, or for us to be able to say, like, hey, meet me at this place at this time, or wash your hands for 20 seconds. Like it's just our way of constructing something so that we can understand nature.
Yes. And on that time, kind of thought pattern, I've thought about, well, when we go to sleep and wake up, it's not like time it like starts over. Like the day doesn't start over. Like we've lived since the day that we've been birthed to the day that we die. It's almost like it's just one continual now. Like we've just slept, in between those times. It's not like the day ends and we get a fresh new day. Time always continues, so like you
as
said,
the sun's going down here, it's coming up on the other side of the world.
Right.
I'm reminded of when my parents used to lie to me. My parents used to lie to me when I was a kid and we'd be driving somewhere far. And I would say, like, how long till we get there? And my mom would be like, well, if you go to sleep, we'll get there faster. And I'm like, no, that couldn't work. I'm like 4 years old or 5 years old. And she's like, yeah, if you go to sleep, you'll wake up and we'll be there. And I'm like, no, I know. It's because I'm like, even as a 4-year-old, you kind of figure it out. You're like, no, that doesn't work. No, sorry. Nice try. You're just trying to shut me up.
Well, your perception is that
Exactly. And she
That's
thought
her.
she was tricking a child. But children are smarter than we give them credit for.
Some of them are. Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are stupid as hell.
Brian.
I said some. Anyway.
Phew, this has been a good one so far.
Yeah, speaking of good ones, Kat, let's talk about you for a moment, shall we?
Sure.
Sounds great.
Right. Finally.
Well, we could keep talking about quantum physics, but I think Kat's ready to tell us about her web series that's coming up, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do with quantum physics.
Oh, but it could be.
In fact, the polar opposite.
Oh, astrophysics.
Yeah. No, well, before I get into that, I will just say I envy writers who are able to write like in this type of format. Like the intelligence that you have to have is just,
and patience.
Yeah, it's just and to write also a gripping TV show, but also have it so based in such scientific, ways. It's like, man, I'm envious.
Mm.
Yeah, my web series is a comedy about two. It seems so silly in comparison now.
That's okay. That sounds refreshing.
We need to laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just silly, good fun vibes. Two girls in their 30s who are roommates and best friends, tackling the dating scene in Los Angeles because dating scene in LA is crazy and some weird stories happen that can only happen here. And, dating in your 20s is far different than dating in your 30s. Mm-hmm. So
Ryan and I have both been there.
Right. I'm about to hit those 30s. I'm coming up on them.
Well, if you have any stories, send them my way.
All right.
But I have some really awesome people attached.
I have stories
that I can't say, but really, really cool, really notable people attached that are going to be really fun. I'm going to shoot the pilot and first episode, and I just can't wait to share it because it's going to be good laughs and enjoyable, bingeable watching.
That's really cool. When are you going to start shooting the first episode?
I would like to shoot, ideally in December, but it's not looking like that with everyone's schedule, so probably early January.
And are you going to shoot an entire season or just one episode at a time?
Actually, I know usually you shoot just one pilot episode, but I love my first two episodes so much, and they're so short that I'm going to shoot the first two, just the pilot and the first episode, and kind of see what attraction we get and see if I can get, funding for the rest of the series. But if I don't, maybe, crowdsource, and because I want to finish the series for sure.
So how long do you think these episodes are going to be each?
About 8 to 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I was guessing 3, but 8 to 10 is great. Can you tell us the title or what it's about at all?
Yeah, sure. So it's going to be called Dating in Your 30s. It's simple as that. My character, she's an artist, and she just broke up with her boyfriend who, broke her heart, and her best friend recently broke up with her boyfriend. They're roommates, and they just kind of decide, okay, we're going to take on the dating scene together. We're going to get through this together. Then a new neighbor moves into their complex who's like the nicest guy, and my character falls in like a really good friendship with him, and he's obviously the guy for her because he's nice and genuine and everything that all the typical LA guys aren't, but she can't see it, of course, until the end of the series then.
Yeah, he's not from around here then.
Not an LA local.
Genuine? I don't even know what that means.
So let me ask you this. Are you taking into consideration in writing this the pandemic, or are you kind of ignoring the pandemic?
No, I don't want it to be centered around the pandemic at all. No. Of course, on set, I'm going to make it through set.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I don't want it to be, no, not at all. I want it to be very pre-pandemic.
You want to take people away from that and
Yeah,
help them forget about it.
No one wants to see people dating with face masks. I mean,
No, maybe.
kissing with face masks.
Yeah, sounds funny.
You'll put lipstick on your mask. And...
Well, plus, yeah, no, I mean, like Michael said, like people, I think people want to move on from it. People, like, you have the pandemic infused into every part of your life right now. When you turn on, you know, the TV or YouTube or something like that, you'd like to see something that's going to make you laugh. Because if you want to know about the pandemic or watch something about the pandemic, you can find it. You can just turn on any news station. You can do whatever you want. So you don't want to provide something that people can already find readily everywhere.
And also, by the time you're done with
break.
Post-production and all like that, the vaccine might be out. And
knock on wood. That's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to count too many chickens.
Exactly. Yeah, and no one wants to, like, remember this time, but, like, I don't think a lot of people remember it fondly, you know?
The good old days. Ah, boy.
Really miss, you know, being locked up for a year, so.
Well, the introvert's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like having an excuse to hide. Yeah, I kind of like having an excuse to hide out. And, sorry, I can't do that stuff that I normally don't want to do but feel like I have to because there's a pandemic going on, darn it.
I really want to. Sorry, I think I better stay inside.
They're like, God, you've been sick for 7 months, Michael. You should get that checked. Anyway. So, well, good luck on that, shooting in December or January. Hopefully that'll be done the first 2 episodes in the springtime, something to look forward to.
Absolutely. And Ryan, I may need you for a part.
Sounds great. I'm happy to provide Michael for that part. No, I'm just kidding. He's in Portland. I'm happy to be a part of it. I was going to say,
December, January up here, it's going to be freezing.
Yeah, we want to go up there and shoot. That sounds great. Just let me know. And do you have any ideas about distribution, or are you just going to figure that out after you shoot it?
Yeah, I have a distribution company called OP Prime that has said that they will distribute it for me. But the good thing about that is that I'm not held in contract with them. So I could look elsewhere. Ideally, I just want to find funding to finish the series, you know.
Right.
It's expensive to shoot stuff, like self-funding is expensive. So that's just the main goal. So whichever avenue I can, I want to be able to pay people and, you know, have quality work.
You down with OP Prime? So.
Yes.
Well, that's great. All the best to you on that. Keep us posted on everything, whether it be for casting or whether it be for promotional reasons, and we'll have you back to talk about it.
I'll watch it for you for sure.
Thank you.
Twice.
Watch the first.
Yeah, hey, there you go. Yeah, we'll have you back for a watch the first. Dating in 30s.
All right, but then
I forgot what it's called. Sorry.
It was Dating in Your 30s, isn't it?
Yes, it's a working title though. So. Okay.
So stay tuned for that. So now we've come to the final leg of our journey, everybody. The final dev
stage.
Yeah, the final stage, indeed. This is what we like to call the terrible twos. Well, correction. Michael likes to call it the terrible twos, but it's officially called the bottom line. It's the final 2 questions. Mike's a grandfather clock right now. It's the final 2 questions of the show.
I am an old clock.
And those 2 questions, it's kind of like the hot seat. Think of it as the hot seat, but we warm you up for a bit so you don't feel too tense about it all. The first question is, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm almost scared to ask this question of you. What would you give the first episode of Devs?
7.6. I'll give Devs a 7.6 on the Richter scale. No, it held my attention the whole. Like I said, it was slow. But I feel like the mystery kind of pulled me along. The mystery of the thing, like right away, what is Devs? That's the first mystery. Lily has to find out what happened to Sergei. That's her main mystery, right? We all know as the audience because we saw it happen, but then how does I mean, was it CGI? Did they reanimate his body? Like there's all these questions that they keep plopping onto us that we're just like, I think I really want to know what happened. So it just pulled all the mystery that they layer upon you, just kind of pulls you along. Mm-hmm. And for that, and Nick Offerman's terrific acting, 7.6.
Final answer. All right.
7.7.
Well, wait. Which one is it? I already wrote down 7.6.
7.65.
I knew you were going to play this game with me. He loves to make me go back into my document because I have to document everything anally.
He doesn't.
Hang on. That didn't.
Now who's lying? We're not children, Ryan. You can't fool us.
I did. I put 7.6. Kat, scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this? I'm going to document this.
I give it solid 8.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely. I was blown away by how mysterious and complex and interesting and layered and exciting and the music. Yes, I give it a solid 8.
Okay.
All right, Ryan, it's on you now. And I'm going to be documenting it this time.
Well, this is really tough for me because both questions
are going to... It's tough for him.
Both of these are going to be very difficult for me because I had a slightly different impression of this episode based on the 2 separate times I watched it. So do I base it on just the first time I watched it? Because we're only supposed to watch the first, not watch the first twice.
Nobody said that.
Do I base it on the second time I watched it? Because maybe that's a more accurate depiction of the show. Or do I blend the 2 together and make a blendy? I mean, these are the things that keep me up at night.
In my opinion, you can watch the first as many times as you want, as long as you only watch the first.
Okay. I don't quite remember what I was going to give it initially. It's going to be fairly low, lower than a 5. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I was going to give it a 4 is what I was going to do to it. I was going to really teach it a lesson. You know, because I was disappointed. I wanted it to know.
We're going to be mailing all these scores into Dev's home office.
Now, I liked it a little bit more than a 4, you know, maybe like a 6, because I like, you know, intelligent things. I understood that which they were speaking of. That I don't even know my own sentence structure anymore.
Of which they were speaking.
Yeah, I knew of which they were speaking. I got it. I understood. I know what nematodes are, you know. I know what Neiman Marcus is and everything in between. So I liked it a little bit more than I think it deserves. I think it deserves a 4.5. Final answer.
Wow, okay.
That's what I think it deserves. And Devs is short for deserves, I'll have you know.
Oh.
And
It's just Devs.
I would like to add that twice now that you guys had me on the show, I have guessed correctly.
Wow.
Hey.
I couldn't even guess Michael correctly. I thought he had good taste.
Fooled you.
Yeah. Maybe it took me twice as many views to come up with the same opinion that Michael kind of already had. I just think that it was, it's, you know, a first episode needs to keep your attention. It needs to make you want to watch more. And this, you know, didn't do much of that.
This did both of those. You're right.
Anyway, Catherine, you're right. You are brilliant about this. So, Michael, question number 2. This is the real one, the real hem and haw, even though I think I know the
La
answer.
pregunta número 2.
Muy interesante. For the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Devs, which was aptly called Episode 1. They're all called Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. Where's the creativity, guys? And they're like, that is the creativity, man.
It's a limited series, so.
But now that the podcast is over, of your own volition, would you watch Episode 2? Would you watch the second, Michael?
I was really struggling with this question, actually. I was like, I really want to know the answers to these questions. What is Devs? What is that code? What happened with Sergey? And what's happening with his password protected Sudoku? And is Lily gonna get back together with her ex-boyfriend? I really didn't care that much about that last one. But I was like, I want to know all this stuff. But then I was like, but these things are like an hour long each. Like, how am I gonna sit through all these things? But when I reread the synopsis earlier right now, and I found out it's a limited series, and I looked and there's only 8 episodes, so there's only 7 more episodes. I would say that yes, I probably will watch the rest of it.
Very muy interesante.
Ay, Dios mío.
So, Kat, would you watch the second episode?
What do you guys think?
I think yes. I think you already have seen the second episode. I think you watched both episodes last night, 1.5 to 2.5 episodes.
It was really hard for me not to. I wanted to very, very badly.
What a trooper.
So, yes, I will. My free time, I'm going to be watching the rest of them. Absolutely.
Wow. Was there anything that gave you pause at all, or is it 100% yes all the way?
No, I'm committed.
Beautiful.
It was a little slow. I will give it that, but that might have been the first episode. You know, I'm willing to understand that maybe the pacing is just slower, but I really liked the show. I want to know what happens for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well,
here we go, right?
I know. So again, 2 watches. The first watch was hell no. I couldn't even get through the first one. The first watch was an absolutely not. The second watch was this is what I want to do secretly. I just wanted to watch the 8th episode. I just wanted to watch the end just to find out what all the mysteries are, and I don't have to deal with 8 hours. Because, Michael, like what you're saying is exactly what I was thinking. Like, I don't want to have to sit through hour after hour after hour after hour. But when you read the synopsis and you said it's a limited thing, I'm like, well, hang on. So that means that it's only 8 episodes. And that eighth episode won't be like, here's a tiny answer to part of the mystery and more cliffhangers for the second season, where you'd be like, dude, I'm never going to get out of this. It's only an 8 episode commitment, which makes it much more palatable. And so for that, instead of a hell no, I say, no, thank you still.
I thought so.
But after you watch the entire thing, Michael, I will listen to your recommendation as to if you think I should watch the rest, or else I'll just maybe watch the 8th episode or look it up online and get spoilers. I'll be like, oh, so that's what it was.
You might have to like settle for Kat's synopsis, because as you guys know, I just moved. That's why I haven't shaven. I'm looking very Portland today.
You said you would watch the second.
Oh, I would. I will watch the second, but I have a lot of unpacking to do before I have time to watch some TV. So.
All right. So Kat, we'll call you what? Tonight? You'll have the whole series done?
I will be watching the second episode tonight.
Well, I think we've done a lot of good here today.
I think we did, yeah.
I think we definitely covered this one beginning to end. You did mention the Sudoku thing. I think they get kudos for that. That was very interesting and cool, and it does make you say, aha, he's hiding something interesting. So we want to make sure to mention that they did a good job there.
Mm-hmm.
We do anything else after this, Michael? We just close it out, right?
No, we just do the, like, say WTF, and
Yeah.
it's been so long for us. I guess Ryan hasn't. I can't believe we haven't done one of these in a whole week.
We only do them once a week anyway. So I guess what I'm
hit
trying
the like
to
button.
Yeah.
Unless you've hit it already, then don't hit it again. Or if you've already hit the dislike button, feel free to hit that again.
Don't confuse them. Everybody
Write us a little comment.
Just make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you share this with your friends. That's also very important. Share it with your friends. Tell them, hey, check this out, guys.
We're telling people to share. Yeah. And that we do this for you. We watch the first so that you don't have to. You don't have to watch an hour-long TV show. You can just watch an hour-long podcast to find out if you want to watch the hour-long TV show.
Right.
There you go.
Right. As I'm sitting there saying, Devs was a long waste of time. We're like, but here's a better way to waste your time. So what I'm trying to say is that this podcast almost changed my mind.
This podcast was deep, man.
This podcast was enthralling.
Ooh.
Intriguing.
Oh, we should have used that one. By the way, Thrall was mentioned recently. So that's about it. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Special thanks to Kat Geren for being a superstar for us and telling us all about her podcast and making us laugh and being smarter than us and teaching us things.
Thank you.
That's what you do. And I guess that's about it. Just remember, whatever Michael likes to say is...
Don't forget to watch the first of things. You can watch it more than once.
But not this one.